Recently, the front pages of all major mainstream media around the world have been focused on the explosion case that occurred in Lebanon. This incident is not only closely related to the situation in the Middle East, but also concerns the life safety of every ordinary person. The story begins on September 17, 2024. On that day, pager explosion incidents occurred simultaneously at multiple locations within Lebanon. These pagers continuously emitted beeping sounds. Their owners thought there was a new message coming, so they picked up the machine and brought it close to their eyes. Then these machines directly exploded in front of them. The victims either had their palms blown off or their eyeballs and kidneys blown away. The scene was extremely tragic. A reporter from the New York Times said that the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon was also blinded in one eye. However, this news was quickly denied by the Iranian government just when the international community was calling on all parties to exercise restraint. The attackers did not want to stop there. The next day, the second round of explosions began. This time, not only pagers, but also walkie-talkies and laptops exploded. Even the solar generators in residents' homes exploded. And a little girl was injured in the explosion. The explosions occurred in cars, supermarkets, cafes, and even at funerals. Sadly, that funeral was originally held to mourn 3 adults and a child who were killed by pagers the day before. Unfortunately, many civilians lost their lives in the series of explosions, including an 8-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl. Fortunately, there is currently no report of pagers exploding on airplanes. Otherwise, it would be another 9/11 now. Hezbollah in Lebanon has publicly named Israel as the mastermind behind this and vowed revenge. Western major newspapers with many deep throats in the Middle East also hinted that this risky move is most likely the work of Mossad. They intercepted 5,000 pagers in advance, implanted trace amounts of explosives in them, and detonated the devices by remote control. Since the circuit board where the explosives are placed is difficult to detect by general scanning equipment, this scheme is easily successful. Facing the outside discussions, Israel is very calm and neither admits nor denies. On one hand, it praises Mossad for having achieved many great achievements recently. On one hand, it flaunts that Israel still has many unused capabilities in the war. On the other hand, it promises that those Israelis who were displaced in the border conflict between Lebanon and Israel will soon return home safely. Without mentioning the pager explosion at all, it seems like nothing has been said. But it also seems like everything has been said on the contrary. The United States issued a statement at the first time, clearing itself of any connection with the explosion case and not wanting to assess who the murderer is. Seeing this explosion case, netizens are very confused. In what era is it? Why is Lebanon still using pagers? In fact, this has to start from the Gaza crisis in October last year, after Israel and Hamas in Gaza started fighting. Hezbollah in Lebanon has been engaging in small-scale skirmishes with Israel to show support for Hamas, but as the fighting continued, Hezbollah found that Israel's information warfare is very powerful. Israel often hacks into their smartphones to steal intelligence and conduct targeted tracking to prevent leaks. Hezbollah banned organization members and their families from using smartphones and ordered several batches of pagers from Taiwan, China for intelligence transmission and wartime communication. The first batch of exploded pagers had the logo of the Taiwanese enterprise Golden Apollo on the back. The walkie-talkies that exploded in the second round are said to be made in Japan, although the companies involved strongly deny any connection with the explosion case. The negative impact has already been caused. Electronic manufacturers are in a state of panic and on edge because of this incident, because this is not just a matter for Golden Apollo. As long as one masters the basic principles, all electronic devices equipped with lithium batteries can potentially be exploited by people with ulterior motives. And all electronic manufacturers can potentially be infiltrated by agents. The international supply chain is no longer safe, perhaps in the future. When manufacturers deliver products, they will not only have to submit quality inspection reports, but also provide safety certificates to ensure that there are no dangerous items in their products. In the past 2 days, a particularly dramatic scene has occurred. Golden Apollo repeatedly emphasized that they have licensed their trademark to another company called BAC. The self-detonating pagers were all produced by BAC and have nothing to do with them, but BAC, whose headquarters is located in Hungary, also said it knew nothing. The person in charge of the company admitted that they cooperated with Golden Apollo but were only doing the work of an intermediary and never manufactured pagers. The Hungarian government also helped them cry out injustice, claiming that the pagers delivered to Hezbollah were never produced in Hungary. Everyone is passing the buck, but the seeds of fear have already been planted in everyone's hearts. All kinds of suspicions and jokes are filling every corner of the internet. Snowden also gave a chilling example: the iPhone you purchased may also be stuffed with explosives. Why has this incident been on the headlines of major mainstream media for so long? It has been 3 days: terrorist suicide bombs and Israel's bombing of Gaza. Many tragedies with even higher death tolls have never received so much attention because this incident has a really bad impact. This case challenges almost the fundamentals on which modern international relations depend. Any product we have now is likely the result of cooperation among dozens of countries and is also the greatest symbol of the new era. In essence, it is trust, but if because you're hostile to a country, there is a risk of explosives being installed in all the things you buy, then this kind of international cooperation has to be re-examined. This damages the mutual trust in the global industrial chain. You should know that 99% of human civilization has been spent in struggles. The cooperation of humans around the world, regardless of race and civilization, is only a matter of recent decades. This trust is very fragile and may break at a touch, especially in the aviation industry. What if it explodes in the sky? So although Lebanon is far away, this incident has also made many domestic netizens anxious like Snowden. Many friends are worried that Apple phones may one day replicate the pager tragedy in the past. You would think that people who said such things had wild imaginations, but now it seems hard to refute them. Thinking deeper, everyone seems to understand even more why the US and the West always fantasize that Chinese products will affect their national security. For example, US lawmakers say that if the streets are full of Chinese electric vehicles, they may become time bombs at any time. The answer is simple. They really have planned this. Of course, considering the particularity and complexity of the Lebanese issue, I do not recommend making such analogies. China is ultimately different from Lebanon with the Western intelligence coordination and mobilization capabilities. The underhanded move of iPhone bombing is unlikely to be achieved in China. At most, they just set some traps along the Belt and Road. Moreover, China's national capabilities and international status are also different from those of Lebanon. If someone insists on using Apple phones to plot against a major country with a complete industrial system and nuclear weapons, they should understand what this means. Furthermore, Apple products are assembled and produced in China. The world's largest iPhone factory is Foxconn in Zhengzhou, Henan Province, China. An Israeli official anonymously told the Associated Press that they have been sending more troops to the Lebanese border since Wednesday. Strategic resources withdrawn from the Gaza Strip have also been directed to the northern border area of Lebanon. According to the official statement of Israel, the war is about to enter a new stage. It seems that a major war between Lebanon and Israel is on the verge of breaking out, and no one knows what will happen next. We often say, world history has come to a crossroads. So has human civilization. International law clearly prohibits the use of booby traps and strictly forbids the weaponization of civilian equipment. But the experience of several Palestinian-Israeli conflicts has told us that once war breaks out, there is no bottom line poisoning water sources, blowing up supplies donated by the Red Cross to refugees, luring and killing with pagers. As long as it can cause damage, any conspiracy can be used. The warring parties in a bloodthirsty state can turn all conventional daily necessities into killing tools. They can also label the elderly, women, and children as special agents and kill them without hesitation. There is no consensus, only savage killings. In this way, it is really hard to say that this is not a regression of human civilization. Although the Middle East war seemingly does not directly affect our lives, the tragedy in Lebanon has alerted the world that everyone is facing the potential safety hazards brought by imported electronic equipment. Perhaps one day, extreme forces will quietly infiltrate a certain link in the supply chain and launch attacks on us, with the help of mobile phones, tablets, laptops, and the like. As the BBC said, now, no electronic product is safe anymore. This is undoubtedly the most shameless exploitation of economic globalization and the most savage violation of international conventions. The difference is that rich and developed countries still have a choice and can choose safer products. But more backward and weak countries don't even have a choice. In this sense, modern warfare has indeed entered a stage that we all do not want to see.